even aside from impeachment, some of the president's more recent moves have started to test Republican support, whether it be pulling American troops out of Syria or his decision, now reversed, to hold the G7 summit at the Doral Resort. That has not set so well with people. So does that mean that they, or he, might be vulnerable? Joining me right now, Executive Vice President of the Trump Organization, Eric Trump. Good to see you. Wow, I mean, you say they're getting desperate.
They're getting desperate. There's no question about it. What do they have, Trish? I mean, the Democrats under Pelosi have done absolutely nothing. They did one thing, I'm sorry. They named 12 post offices in this country. That's all they've done and then look at all the accomplishments of my father. The best economy we've ever had, the lowest unemployment we've ever had, highest consumer confidence, best stock market, 401ks are up by 40%, manufacturing is coming back to this country, rebuilt military, focused on the veterans.
Got a great record, certainly on the economic
biggest
front.
Biggest tax cuts in the history of this nation. I mean, people are proud to be Americans again. And the Democrats are naming.
So you think this is a political move?
They're naming post offices. That's what they're doing. I mean,
this is a political move. So they're saying, okay, the economy's strong. We're not going to be able to get them on that. We're so far, knock on wood, very, very safe. We can't get them on that. So now we have to go for impeachment. It's the only thing. I mean, and by the way,
it's a distraction. It's a distraction. And by the way, none of them, Trish, have that twinkle in their eye. There's something that Obama had, right? He had a twinkle in his eye. There was something Clinton had. He had a twinkle in his eye. There was something that Bush had that was relatable, right? He had that twinkle. Do you see that same characteristic, whatever it is? I don't even know how to describe it.
Je ne sais quoi, right? Like it's that je ne sais quoi.
Do you see that in Elizabeth Warren? I mean, do you see that in Biden, who can't go through a sentence without totally fumbling it? Not to mention all his other problems. I mean, do you see that in Bernie Sanders, who literally looks like a lunatic? I mean, they don't have it, and they're not pulling the crowds. They're not. I spoke to that crowd in Minneapolis a week and a half ago. 25,000 people inside. There's another 50,000 people outside in a blue city going crazy. They love this country. They're all American. They're patriotic. Their wages are going up.
I'm with you in that they don't have a strong field right now. I mean, I think part of that is because they eat their own, as we're seeing with Tulsi Gabbard, and we're seeing with Hillary Clinton going after her, accusing her of being a Russian asset. And so they don't really have anybody. So perhaps this is what they're doing. But in the meantime, some critics of your dad say, well, wait a second. Why is he giving them any ammunition? Like holding the G7 at his resort, for example, while simultaneously criticizing Biden for conflicts of interest.
Yeah, you know what? He was going to do it for free. Honestly, it's a great example of no good deed goes unpunished. The guy was going to do it for free. Now the U.S. government will probably go off and spend hundreds of millions of dollars throwing some lavish party. The guy was going to subsidize the cost of it, and he gets crushed for it. Okay, fine.
So you think he thought, I'm doing a good thing. I'm doing a good thing for the country, and this is the right thing to do?
100%. He was going to do it for free. The American taxpayer wouldn't have had to pay for it. The guy came out of the hospitality world. Like, that's his thing. That's what he's known his entire life. He was going to do it for free, but, it's mass hysteria. And so guess what? He puts up his hand and says, you know what? It's not worth going through this nonsense. But look at Pelosi and look at Schiff and look at, look how disingenuous they are. Go back to the old clips of Jerry Nadler getting up there and, how dare you impeach? You're trying to overturn the will of the voters. And then sure enough, he's trying to overturn the will of the voters. I mean, these guys, my father just said it there, right? They are so full of crap.
Yeah, no, he said it. And now you did too. But look, I think that your father has done some remarkable things for the economy, and I commend him tremendously for that. I think that we are in a better spot economically. So I understand sort of the political aspect of this all. But, at the same time, they're saying, well, why does he have to go down these particular paths? I mean, the G7 thing being one. I hear what you're saying, but the left is looking. They're looking
fine
for
with
ammunition.
The G7, but the guy's also a fighter, and I say this all the time. The one thing that this country was missing was a great fighter. There was no one fighting for the U.S. There wasn't anybody fighting for the U.S. against China. There wasn't anybody fighting for the U.S. against Mexico, or to stop manufacturing from leaving, or fighting for vets, or fighting for the military, or fighting for the economy,
he's doing a lot of that.
Fighting intellectual property. So you know what? Ingrained in his DNA is his ability to fight. And that's, quite frankly, what's made him so different, and that's what's made him so good. And hey, does he once in a while maybe get in a little bit of trouble for it? He'll be the first person to laugh at that. But
let's talk about somebody else who's in trouble for it, Mick Mulvaney, okay? So he came out over, last week, and then, of course, over the weekend, getting himself increasingly in hot water as to whether or not there was any kind of quid pro quo on Ukraine. Talk to me about this, because on the one hand, he said what he said, and it's kind of hard to take it back. But on the other hand, he may have been trying to convey something else. What do you think it was?
It's hard to believe that you actually have to defend Ukraine. Biden's son, Hunter, was getting paid $50,000 a month in a country he didn't speak the language in an industry that he knew nothing about. Google ExxonMobil. The average board member for ExxonMobil makes about $330,000 a year, right? His son was making $600,000 a year as a kid who had gotten kicked out of the Navy in a field that he knew nothing about.
That wasn't initially what was being investigated, right? Wasn't it that there was some question, and I think you're within the right to ask these questions, whether it be Ukraine, whether it be Russia, whether it be China. Who the heck was meddling in 2016?
The point is, the whole thing started with a fake dossier. Then it went to the Ukraine. There is so much rampant corruption that happened. Quite frankly, I think it's the very reason my father won, because everybody's been seeing this for so long and no one's done a damn thing about it. But, you know, you're looking into, and the topic comes up of the Bidens and the amount of money that they're making overseas. And all of a sudden it gets flipped over to, okay, Mick Mulvaney, you know, you might have misstepped. You might have, you know, accidentally said the wrong thing, or, you know, when you're getting yelled at by 50 reporters in a gaggle, something came out a little bit wrong. How about actually focusing on the rampant corruption? A kid going over to, you know, Beijing on Air Force Two and leaving with $1.5 billion.
Right,
it's insane.
So listen, I think that your father is different in that, well, we haven't in modern history really had a president who's made his money ahead of time, right? You know, it's always been somebody who makes it after they're in office.
Or while they're in office.
And you've also been part of your father's business since, I think, the time you were a kid, right? You've always had some involvement, and that has been your career. But there are critics that say, well, how is Hunter Biden different than Eric Trump? What do you respond?
Well, first of all, Eric Trump started, you know, literally working with his hands on construction sites when he was 11 years old. Eric Trump also got out of international business when my father became commander-in-chief. The difference with Hunter Biden is Hunter Biden got into international business when his father became vice president of the United States. That's the difference.
And this is part of what your dad was saying today, right?
We were in the business world our entire lives. And as soon as my father won, we said, you know what, we're doing nothing overseas. We're putting down, literally, we're turning off every project that we don't have. We own land overseas because we've been in business for the last 30 years. But we're turning off all international projects. The difference is Hunter had no duties, he had no job, he might have had a job, but he had never conducted international business until his father was vice president. And all of a sudden he's sitting on boards of, you know, Amtrak, and he's sitting on boards of Ukrainian natural gas companies. And, you know, the irony, Trish, is look at the Democratic platform. You want to go up to upstate New York and you want to drill for natural gas or for oil, they'll kill you. How dare you? You're going to, you know, ruin the environment. You're going to do this. But it's perfectly fine if their sons sit on the boards of natural gas. I mean, doesn't anybody else find that hypocritical? I mean, they don't want you drilling for gas here, but if their kids are making $600,000 a year sitting on the board of a natural gas company, you go right ahead. You drill wherever you want. I mean, the hypocrisy is looming, and people see through this crap. I mean, they just see through the nonsense.
That word keeps coming up, right? Eric, it's great to see you.
It's good to be with you.
Thank you so much. Good to have you here. Eric Trump, everyone.